Oh, no, no. TDOG with DC20. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that because I just did almost 30 minutes of this video recorded and posting to Twitch and YouTube. No audio. Oh my god. I'm going to have to redo this whole thing. Alright. That was a great dry run for me doing this. Yep, yeah, I know. It said Here's the funny thing. TDOG is it had it set to I had it set to default, and I don't know what it thought default was, but apparently it was not recording. Thank you for the heads up. I didn't do my normal setup today. It's obviously very early in the morning. Well, not very early anymore, but yeah, I'm gonna have to redo this whole thing basically, which is unfortunate. But man, okay, all right. Well, that's a bummer. 30 minutes of my life down the drain. I don't have time to. I don't have time to restart. All right, all right. Second run goes easy. Oh, I wish it did. I wish it did. I'll have to go in and edit it afterwards. All right, so I'm going to restart the video from here, and I'm only going to do a half an hour, and then I'm going to go ahead and, as I can only do a half an hour today, half an hour left anyway, and then I am going to, I'm going to edit that part out after I do that. So, okay, let's restart back from back from the beginning. Okay, all right. What did I start with? Okay, so here's what I started with. Um, here's what I started with. Here's where I'm going with these live streams that I'm going to be doing, and where I'm going to be going with the live streams that I'm going to be doing on here once a week is my own internal head thought process when it comes to DC20 module building and how I'm using DC20 Forge to do that. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this. Having said that, I wanted to do a quick outline of how Alan structures his module building, and more specifically, the big thing here is how to read this adventure. This is at the beginning of all of his modules, and he has the scenes will just to read from this real quick, but the scenes will be broken up in the following ways. Each color means something and helps to organize this adventure to be both easier to prep and run during a live session. What does that mean? That means if you are someone who wants to run a DC20 adventure that's unlike any other adventure before, like the modules in D&D, is he wants minimum prep needed and able to run his games so that you can sit down and you can just read the key moments in this plain text of what this scene is about in order to kind of give you the information you need to run it. And then the orange gives you the background information. You may read that while your players are role playing. And then the actual text that you're going to read about and the actual text that you're going to be interacting with your players with is the green box text and the blue box text. So the green box text is the read aloud text. These are scene descriptions, placing them in the area. And the blue box text is your NPC information and dialogue. So describing how an NPC looks, what their voice, tone, and demeanor may be, and then the actual quotes that they may have. And then GM prep text may be something like DCs or just some more background information about the scene to help you run it. And during a section, you may only need to read the green text and the blue text, which you don't have to prep for. You don't have to read all that beforehand. But that gets you in the zone, in the mode. You don't need a plan for every thing that the players might say or do. You can just go in and read that, and then you just, you're 90% of what DMs are doing anyway is what's the word is improvising. So that's what that is. So that is the big highlight. And then you've got the scene structure overview where if you want to, as a DM and you're prepping for an adventure, you can read the summaries of all the scenes just to get a big overview of what that is. And if that's the only thing you do is just a scene overview, then you're pretty much in a pretty good shape for running it. And that's the way he decided to structure things, and that's the philosophy I built into building modules in DC20 Forge. And if you're new to this page or me as a streamer, I'm a big DC20 fan. I build DC20 Forge as the D&D Beyond of DC20. It's meant to be better than that because it has a lot more than that. It has a DM screen, encounter builder, world builder, and more. So, anyways, this example that I'm showing on screen is an example of how DC20 structures its modules again, and basically giving you an overview of what things that the GM needs to know about the adventure for players, supplemental information about important locations, important people, important items, and just giving you all that information. If you read nothing but these 2 pages, the scene outline and the scene overview, you are set, and that's all you need. Also laying out the creatures. So if you're someone who needs to know about all the creatures that are going to be in a given chapter, you know that right from the beginning. Or when you're setting up a whole adventure. And then when you get to scenes, you can see it structured in the same way. You can see DM notes and everything highlighted in those ways. So how do we use that? And how am I going to use that to build modules? And I'm going to be showing you the Weight of Honor module. And so the Weight of Honor module is going to be a level novice through level 10 module. And just to show you how that looks like, if you create a module, you'll have this edit module. You'll be able to put the name, the recommended level range, and a quick short description. And just to give you that description of what this module is going to be about, the Weight of Honor is a long-form DC20 campaign set in the feudal islands empire of Kythera, where 10 elemental sovereigns are sealed within living wardens who safeguard the realm. Beginning at the novice level with personal clan origin trials, and culminating at level 10 in a high-stakes political and spiritual conflict. The adventure follows a brand of chosen retainers serving the Gravity Warden of Kumo, as honor, duty, and emotional restraint are tested against betrayal, war, and catastrophic elemental forces. The heroes must decide whether to uphold the fragile order of the islands or watch as the heavens themselves fall. So, that is the description. Hopefully that entices enough people to be interested in it. But that doesn't give away anything, no spoilers or anything like that. And then I have my overview. So here I've typed up my for the game master description. So this is everything the GM would read to know about the adventure to start. And then for the player's description. So without the spoilers, read about what it is to gauge your interest and whether or not you want to play in this. And then I have supplemental information. I haven't filled out a lot of this information. I'm going to fill that, kind of backfill out as I go, as I create these NPCs and talk more and more about these locations and important NPCs to know about the adventure. Those things will be right there. And then the outline. So the adventure outline, and this is where I've extrapolated away from or not away from, but towards exactly what Alan gives, the Dungeon Ghost gives, and how he builds his modules. Now, the modules out right now are levels 1, 4, and 5. And so if you want to run a single session on a chapter, those are perfect for that. But how do you do that with multiple chapters? Well, basically, every set of scenes in my module is going to be a chapter. And so instead of a scene outline at this level, you will have a chapter outline. So chapters 1 through whatever are going to be right in here in the adventure outline. And then how to read this adventure is going to be automatically in here. So if you're someone who's creating a module in DC20 Forge, this will automatically be here for you. And you'll be able to use that if you want to give it to other people. If you want to sell it, download it, whatever, you can do that. And then we have the appendices. So the appendices, so you want to go to the resources page and you look at a module. They have an items and trinkets appendices, and then you have the appendices, and then you have a bestiary appendices, and then I have added add appendix appendices. So I have talents here, and for my module, and I know this is ambitious of me, but I'm an ambitious guy, is I've created 10 origin stories. And so depending on which clan you choose as a part of your origin story, you will be able to choose a class talent. And you won't get it at the novice level, but you get it by completing the novice level. So at level 0, you will have a talent. And this talent, unlike the other talents in the game, will level up with certain levels of the game. So it's meant to be like a little bit of extra fun for you as you level up. You can theme it however you want in terms of, like, it doesn't matter what class you are. You're going to have this additional talent, and you can lean into that and theme everything in your class towards that talent, or not. Totally up to you. But that's how this is set up. And I've got 10. There's still 1 to BD, and the reason for that is this is going to be, I'm going to need the summoner information, and the Summoner is one of the new classes coming out. And so once that is out, I'll be able to kind of complete this. But those are the appendices. But just to show you how that looks, because what'll happen. Let me show you this real quick. What'll happen is when you're in the Weight of Honor and you're creating these chapters and you're creating the scenes within each chapters and the NPCs and the creatures and all of this information, you can create and sync a digital book. And what that'll do is that'll make a digital book for you in the resources page. Now this will only be for you. If you want to share it to the community homebrew, you can, but you don't have to. But just to show you exactly how it looks like, it's automatically formatted to show you here's the adventure overview, the description I just gave you, for the game master's information to give you a saturated amount of information if you're going to run this adventure, if that's an interest to you. And then for the players, there's definitely spoilers in the GM, so if you're a player, don't read that. But for the players, it gives you just like trying to get some engagement. This is what the adventure is about, and you can send this to people to see if they'd be interested in that. And then the supplemental information obviously is not formatting right, but that's something I gotta fix. So two things is, like, I am the creator of DC20 Forge, so while I'm going through this process, I'll be able to go in and fix how certain things are functioning so that everything's working for players. And then we have the adventure outline. So like I said, this is automatically going to be here. Now, one thing it's formatting weird is I have the chapter, and this has this novice level description, but I'm not sure where it's coming from right now. But this obviously gives a quick little description of that chapter. Actually, I do think I know where it is coming from. But this will list you the chapter summaries. This will obviously have more chapters than levels because there are already 10 chapters, one for each origin story. So you can't have two players from the same origin. You're just going to run a novice level and just do them both together and double it up based on player level. And there will be information about that as well. But you can see how all of this is translating in a chapter overview. And that's where that's coming from. The chapter overview is automatically being picked up in the adventure outline. The important NPCs and the creatures that are in this chapter, how the scene's floating, or showing up. So you've got your green read aloud text, you've got your important NPC information and the dialogue, some of the quotes that they may speak about, and the background information. So this and how I've structured this is it's not going to be like just to give you, like, if I were to outline some of the, or I were to give a little bit of information comparing how I'm building this module versus like D&D modules that most people have likely run, and that's like Curse of Strahd, Out of the Abyss, or like Horde of the Dragon Queen, I think are some of the most popular. And then Curse of Strahd is, you're not going to need any background information for that. You know, you're in similar in Out of the Abyss. Like, I mean, you could potentially still run origin story stuff with that, but it's not going to be as much of a matter. You start in a prison cell in that one. In Curse of Strahd, you start waking up in a dream in Barovia, and you're never going to face like your personal backgrounds in another dimension. And then you have the Horde of the Dragon Queen type module, which is very railroady, and you could fit in backstory stuff as side quests and stuff like that just to break things up, but it's very railroady, and you kind of need to like stay on the on the railroad. You can't veer off of it too much, and so this is not going to be any of those. How this is going to be built is if for someone who's seen or hasn't seen my session 1 or session origin stories, novice level and session 0 video on YouTube, I highly recommend it because I talk about how to use them to immerse your characters. And I wanted to build a module that actually did that for you and gave you inspiration. Now, I'm not going to give you everything. I'm going to give you the tools you need to build off of it. So like, it'll be a couple of NPCs, but I want you to have your characters make a background and fill out information about the family. You can change this. They can name their mother something else, and just have them answer those questions. And then you come in here and you just add those NPCs, and then interactions they may get in that environment. However, I want you to be able to make it your own. I want to give you inspiration, and I want to give you some tools you can need if you need some. But if you want to take this and roll with it and make it your own, you can absolutely do that. So that's the way I'm building this. But just to go off, the importance of session 0 versus an origin story. Session 0, as most people know it, is your prep. It's not an actual adventure. It's sitting down with your group and talking about, things that you want to avoid, concepts you want to avoid, things that you want to be okay with. Um, Talking about, and I'll have as many session zeros as I need. Like one maybe with the group, kind of structuring. Okay, what's this going to look like? And then one individually with every person, because I want to understand, what did they imagine their growth of their character be? What are their fears? What are their drives? What are their motivations? Because I want to use that information to drive them through these origin stories, and that conversation is going to be important as they go through each and every one of these scenes. But every chapter will have its own scene outline. Well, you'll give an overview of what each of the scene contains. I obviously haven't filled this one out yet, but I've at least outlined the 10 origin story chapters, and each one's going to be themed towards getting them that talent. How do they get that talent for level 0? And what's going to be great about this module is if you're someone who is new to DC20, which a lot of people may be by the time this is out, and if you're new to it, origin stories level 0, novice level are going to be amazing for you. So that's how I've structured things here. Let me go back to the DM screen and show you how I'm building that. So again, you can share, as I mentioned briefly, but you can share this to the community homebrew. But once I'm here, some cool things is, let's go ahead and show you what this looks like. So export. And I'm gonna have to let me show you what that looks like real quick. Let me yeah. So here we are. Let me just make sure that's scrolling right. Yeah, perfect. So this is when you build a module here, this will automatically kind of put this in a format for you as a DM, and you can come and you have to do your own design elements and everything like that, but you can see how it's automatically structured for you, and yeah, and obviously some of the other stuff isn't filled out yet. Well, some of the other chapters aren't filled out yet, but everything is there, and you can print or save this PDF and edit it later. So yeah, that is the really cool export feature. um, and then let's just show you just a chapter overview. So again, editing the chapter, name the chapter. Here's the chapter overview. That is what got put in my chapter overview on the whole page. And then you add your supplemental information. I have my scene descriptions right here, and then my scene building down here. And let's just show you. And I've got my NPC, some Akiko creatures that I've added. And let me show you how I edit scenes. So this is the scene editor. So I like to start off with read aloud text. So you see I do have some tools in here for me to help if I ever need to help reword stuff, if I feel like I'm a little weak on something, help bring some inspiration to me. I don't use everything here word for word or anything like that, but I have an AI autofill and refine. This isn't a tool available for users, and just if there's a catch about this whole functionality, it's you do need at least the the Forge Master tier in order to use the module builder in the DM screen. The autofill is a creator only. This is something I have. I've been testing it out. I don't want everything fleshed out with AI, but if I'm going to add an AI type feature, if that is something people want, I would add it to something like the Dragon Forge tier, just because it does use up credits and stuff like that. But anyways, I've got my NPC NPC note information. I've got my NPC dialogue and some of the quotes that she may speak about, and then my GM information only. So I've got all that there in my first scene, and then I might put a proceed to scene 2. Save scene. There we go. And then I have my my scene 2 is a combat training dummy. And again, I haven't filled out a lot of the information there, but I wanna because I was working on something. I need to check out in a minute after I'm done with this screen. But I just want to show you what that looks like. Let me unload these scenes for a second. So here's one of the huge benefits of the module builder here in DC20 Forge is you can come in here and you can load scenes. Now this is the Weight of Honor. These are all the chapters so far, and I'll have a better way to organize this in the future. But here is the Uzuma Origins, which is what we were just seeing, but here's how it lays it out. Here's your read aloud text. Here's your NPC dialogue. Um, the information about the NPC, and then the quotes that they may have. And then here's the scene is information directing you. So this scene is an opportunity for the player to interact with their environment and family. Have the characters interact with people closest to them. So this is what I mean by I'm not going to feed you everything. I've thrown out an NPC. I'll probably throw out 2 more, but then I want DMs to tailor this to your player. If they've come out with a few different NPCs, but when it comes to their family, they're going to interact with, put them in here. Give them something to talk about. And here's how, and this is where I ended before TDOG with DC20 let me know I was not having audio. This is where I ended. How I structure origin stories is there's 2 ways, and I talk about this in my origin stories video. And that's option 1, live the origin story, and 2, write about it and then live it. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to live your origin story, don't let your players in your session 0 choose how or why they became the class that they became. So I think it's really important for you at novice level to choose, and you don't have to, by level 0 you should choose, but I would choose what class you plan on playing in either the novice level or level 0. And the reason I say you don't necessarily have to at novice level is because you can just choose, you know what, I'm going to either be a martial character, a spellcaster, or a hybrid, because those are the 3 options at novice level. So you don't know which one you're going to be, but you're going to be one of those. Now, the only reason I say you might want to know is just because if you're going to be, you can still do this, but if you're going to be a hybrid, now right now there's only 2. There's your Spellblade and your Scion, and there will be more. I think I forget what it is. The Tamer, I think, is going to be a hybrid. I don't remember which one he said was going to be the hybrid, but you only have a few options. But if you choose either spellcaster or martial, you've obviously got 6 options apiece right now, and there'll be more in the future. But know which one you're going to do, so that you can tell you can talk to your DM about it. Because what I want you to do with these origin stories as a DM is take them and tailor them to why they chose that class. Now, again, you don't need to know this necessarily at novice level. You can kind of push towards them, because at level 0 you're going to choose a class, and you're going to get one of the features, which is why I say you might want to know it by novice level, but definitely by level 0 you need to know which one you're going to do, because you're going to choose the class that you're going to end up being at full class level 1. But have an idea, and then tailor this. I'm going to give you the building blocks for this, and this novice level is going to take you to how you gain your clan talent in this module. But then think about, if you're going to add a scene to this, why that class? What happened in your background that made you choose that class? And so I prefer that method. One method you could do if you want a little less control as the DM, which I think is a little less fun for the player, but it can be fun. I've done this with my players. Like we played Out of the Abyss, and my players had did no origin story for that campaign. But when we were hitting a lull where we couldn't have everyone playing, and so we couldn't continue the campaign. And so what we did is I did some origin story sessions with whoever couldn't make it, and we did flashbacks to why they became the. So their backgrounds were already written at this point, and all I did was have them live it, and they loved it. They had an amazing time with it. So it's not that there's a right or the wrong way. This is simply my preference, as I prefer not to do that, because you kind of know what's coming. I mean, everyone else around the table doesn't. If they don't know your background, they don't know what's going to happen. So it's fun for everyone else watching, but I prefer to do it the other way. But here is the secret to my origin story sessions. Have all the players present, and I know your first question is going to be, okay, what are the other players doing while you're running an origin story for one player? What I'm doing is I'm taking these NPCs, I'm putting them on a scrap piece of paper. You can put quotes, but my most important thing is a quick little description and a quick little motivation and personality type. And those are the only things that I give them. And I hand them that piece of paper, and they run that NPC. It takes the reins off the DM a little bit, which is actually really fun because you don't have control when you're letting other people help tell you this story. And I love to see that happen. People do such great jobs with it. I've seen such amazing things happen at the table when I give the reins to one of the players. It also really encourages role playing. So if you have a player who's not a big role player, it helps get them into it a little bit more. And I think practice makes perfect when it comes to role playing. Like, it's hard for maybe a new player sometimes to role play if you've never done anything like this. But if you're a veteran, then maybe a little bit easier. But the more you role play, the easier it's going to feel, the more fun it's going to feel, the more fast. I don't know what. More natural. That was the word I was trying to say. The more natural it's going to feel. So those are my big tips for origin stories, and again, I'm going to be going more and more into like these, how I'm going to build off of it and kind of prompt that as I'm building these scenes. Again, today I messed up because I didn't have audio working for the first half hour, so I'm kind of redoing everything. But just to show you, how the scenes are being structured and showing up in the scenes board, it's just like that. So let's see if we can chug out a little bit more in this. So, and again, this isn't. I do want to make it so that people can edit them when they're sharing and using homebrews. One thing I don't have right now is like you can't pull one of the other modules, like the pre-made modules, into this and edit it. And I'm trying to figure out how logistically I want to do that for people. But I want to do one thing before we're all said and done. So just going into these two scenes here, we've got the training module scene, which I haven't finished yet. So their combat, okay. DC, and again, this is what I don't know, and I have to double check it, but I should have that in here. I'm gonna put a DC thing here, and I do know it's in one of these. So skill challenges, I'm pretty sure, on social account. I'm gonna add these two real quick. So DC normal, party level. Party level is gonna be, oh, there's a threshold here. It should be -1. Oh, that's something I have to fix. So always good to find things in here. So skill challenge, no. Can I do that level here? No. Okay. So I can't go below that. Medium difficulty, level 1, number of party level 1. It should be a number of PCs type deal. Nope. Okay. Number of PCs. I'm gonna go with 1. Let's do a threshold 1. So challenge DC is 13. So I think that's about right. So I was more just trying to figure out what is the encounter DC. I'm seeing 13 for both. So what I'm gonna, and because this is -1, I think I'm gonna go with DC 12. I'm just gonna save that there for a second. Because let's go to the encounter builder and let's just see if I'm right. So let's go down to here and let's go to training dummy. Again, I'm just showing you how my mind works while I'm building this. So save DC 12, attack +2. So this is a level 0. I don't even think he has novice level monsters here, but let's level novice 2.5. So this is a hard fight. This is a hard fight for a novice level. So what I might do is I might edit this guy. I might create well, I'll show you exactly what I would create. I'm not gonna do it that way, but let's go to animated training dummy, and let's do create variant, because this is, can I do this? Yeah, okay. So -1 brings it to 10, 10, 5. Charisma, don't care about any of that. Attack bonus. So it's similar attack bonuses. I almost feel like it shouldn't be, but that's okay. But I'm creating a variant because let me just see what happens to the HP real quick. So HP, does it change? Yeah, so it changes. So, and I think that's the big thing. So I'm going to create a variant, novice. Create variant. Oops, hold on. Create variant. There we go. All right, so now we got a novice level 1. Now let's go to encounter builder, and should have animated. I know I'm going to be running out of time in 2 minutes. Animated training by novice. There we go. Add a PC and novice. Done. So medium level encounter now. So HP is adjusted, and I'm gonna do so origins. I'm gonna do weight of honor. Origins training. Can't type. Save. Boom. Okay. DM screen back here. Weight of honor. Now that was the long way, but I'm showing you how my brain's working because I want to make sure this is right. So I'm gonna do DC12 training dummy novice variant. Ah. Save, and then let's just see how this looks. So scene 2, change a dummy. Okay, but then I can go to encounters, run encounter. And then here it is. Here's the encounter. Now, I would add a PC. We'll just say Uzuma. -1. And obviously, I have no stats related to this right now because this is just a generic person. Now, if I had a actual player, I can come in and plug in what their stats are. Because they're not going to be, I don't know how, I think it just defaults to 20. But, we want all these things. And honestly, if you have them connected to a campaign, then what you can do is you can actually connect that person to this encounter, and it'll automatically have their stats loaded. When you run start, it'll connect that live PC to this, and basically it'll affect the character sheet. Just to give you an overview, but like I'm out of time already. But I just wanted to show you, kind of introduce what I'm going to be doing with this particular live stream, and showing you how it's going to be working as I go through and build different. Build this module. I want to show you how I'm building it. So I'll end with this just because I started with it and it was my audio wasn't working. So again, thank you TDOG. I don't think I will ever make this mistake again. But when it comes to module building, or when it comes to this particular, because I haven't given anything away yet, unless you're sitting there staring at, you took a screenshot of it and you're reading about it, is if you want to run this, then by all means join me for these live streams and enjoy the road as I'm in my thought process of how I'm going about building this module. But if you want to play this, turn it off. I'll try to do a spoiler alert every time, because if you want to be a player and watch this screen or watch this build, then it's going to ruin it for you. There's going to be plenty of stuff, but I look forward to hopefully building up some more viewers and just getting some feedback. If anyone thinks I need to fix something, change something, or anything like that, these are going to be early mornings, so I don't know how. I don't know how, at least I think so. We'll see. I might find different times based on feedback and comments. What feels best for people if they want to join me for these streams, but they will be on replay for people if they want to later. But thank you, TDOG. I appreciate you watching, and the other few people who've been able to chime in here. Thanks for listening. Again, play smarter, stay clever. I think it's the other way around. Stay clever, play smarter, and have a good one, guys. Enjoy your day and